Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me. I don't need to do this, but I felt inspired because there was a lot of stuff going on online, and I felt that some people were very hurt by the elections and they were not sure as to what was going to happen. And also, some years ago, when Trump started his presidency, I've already done a video and I did talk about a particular part of his chart that suggested to me that there could have been an assassination, but I felt it would be through poison, through food. I did not suspect it would be through a potential gunshot. And yeah, and I also did say that the end of Trump's presidency would lead to a certain health crisis, not necessarily crisis, but it would make changes, or it would make certain shifts in the medical field of United States and such in the world. So he brought with him a sense of something Virgin, like Virgo, and Virgo is a sign of health and medicine to a degree, so I felt that that was going to happen with his previous time. So this time, what do we expect? So he'll be there for about 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. So the feeling I'm getting is that he did not win this fair and square. I don't believe that he won this fair and square. I feel that Kamala was meant to be there. So I feel that the votes were most likely bought. Yeah. So I feel that he also had people overseas, and he's been really busy making friends overseas. He's been really busy talking to people all over the world to try and help him win this election and to make sure that everybody gets paid at the end of the day. So what can I also say about Biden's presidency? I'm not sure if it is really secure, but I mean, to talk about it, yeah, that guy, I didn't do a video on him, but I did suspect when he first came into power that there would be a lot of tax fraud, just fraud, and money, question of money and where the money is going, and also how people are treated financially and how people are treated in general. So once Biden is out, I believe that it's going to be very easy to fix a lot of the things that we have going on, but these are not easy to fix. For example, the war with Russia is actually, between Russia and Ukraine, is actually really easy to come to an end. It's really easy to bring it to an end. And it's very easy, I feel, for a lot of people in power to see who Zelensky is and to basically stop funding and supplying money to the war. And it would be very easy to settle this, but whether or not it settles, I am not sure. But it definitely felt to me that one of the greatest things that Trump could have done is put an end to a lot of funding and a lot of leakage, leaking of money from the United States to other people. But this is not as easy as it sounds. There are lots of contracts. I believe that Biden signed several hundreds of contracts to keep this leakage and to keep it going and to not have anything change. So the plans were to keep United States in debt and accountable, and in some ways, and very, very tricky, several types of contracts that are not very easy to undo. So maybe for Trump, it looks like it's going to take very little time and effort to fix some things. And luckily, yeah, there are going to be shifts as he is bringing peace. He is trying to bring peace. He's not interested in war as much as Obama was, or Biden. He's not, or Bush. He's not interested in keeping up with that. I feel he's tired of it, and I feel that he's genuinely in his heart about needing it to end. And not just politically, I actually feel that he really feels something for the people that have been at war and that have been in the situation. So I feel that there is actual, real human compassion when it comes to neutralizing these situations, these stories, which is really nice and muy amable, as I say in Spanish. But what basically we're here experiencing, exposed to, is a lot more than we may imagine. And yes, another health crisis is very likely. So he's bringing with him a question of health. I feel because of how he's put together and what he's done with his life, or with his words, with his time, there is going to be some very humane and compassionate stuff happening in the world. There are going to be very big compassionate and emotional triggers for a lot of people. A lot of emotional media is going to return. And yes, by the middle of Snake Year 2025, there's going to be a very extroverted, emotional, hyper empathetic side coming out in USA and United States media, I feel, and it's going to be kind of overwhelming. So like the LGBTQA and all of these emotional topics, all of these humanitarian topics are going to surface and they're going to be faced. In some cases, I believe they're going to be over the top. And I feel that people are just going to kind of become very mushy and very compassionate. But I feel this is going to eventually bring about another sense of solitude and a sense of ill health. So it's going to become, I feel, a lot better for certain people not to force themselves to emit emotion or compassion to a degree where it is maybe intense and it is like sort of borderline with immense feelings in 2025, 26, and 27. As I don't believe that people can handle this, as I'm seeing like maybe potentially another type of crisis or war. And it looks like it is questionable as to what the health of people may be. So a lot of sulkiness, a lot of crying, like a lot of, oh, woe's me, especially with 25, 26 on the way. And also what we have in the sky, I suppose, obviously, is horse year, or snake year 25, horse year 26. Being the fire horse year, I believe it's going to be very hard for people to hold on, and there's going to be big jolts and big eccentric motions, and whether or not he will be running full term, whether or not he will be a president for the full duration of his term, I am not sure. But we do have something else. I feel that compassionate and quick exchange and really big debts covered by the government, there are lots of things we don't know about. There's lots of money problems underneath everything. The prices, the inflation and rising of prices on simple goods in the USA and different countries in the world, they've actually been really preposterous. And these taxes are funding the war directly, and they're funding people, and they're just finding it peculiar and curious to be inside of these experiences. So the people that are running these giant, sad, despicable things that are happening in the world, they're actually finding it interesting. So that's actually like one of the worst things that I feel Biden has brought about is a curiosity and a warfare. And lack of empathy and complete lack of trust in other people. So surveillance went over the top, people spending also, obsession with money, obsession with being picture perfect and very kind of just in that, the dryness that he brought in, the dry sense of humor, the dry energy. I have a feeling that it really brought a lot of people to a state of shame and disembellishment. And then I feel and trust that Trump is not going to necessarily fix it, but there is going to be a big, goopy, silent treatment. Maybe there is going to be some kind of very archaic behavior happening with people. Maybe there are going to be people put in camps very easily. In terms of immigrants and other things like that, I don't feel that Trump is waiting for things to get better there. I don't believe that he's going to be repeating that process that was kicked in by the other party. I don't feel he would be very lucky to do what he's going to do, but I'm feeling that with refugee camps and different types of orchestrated ways of dealing with the influx of refugees from the South, from South America, this is harsh. We don't really know what's going to happen entirely, but I have a feeling that people will not be able to recognize their country very quickly. And yes, there is going to be gangs and crime and a rise of unrest if people don't get what they want. So if you can imagine with Biden and other people in power, they probably were paid incredibly to stay in the country. So a lot of that is coming from taxpayers' pocket. So normal American people probably wouldn't have as much rights or as many opportunities, options as some of the people that just basically help themselves to cross the border. And looking at it from my perspective, living in South America, it's been interesting what's been happening on the news with Venezuelans and Colombians and Ecuadorians crossing, Bolivians sometimes crossing the border to get to America to seemingly live the American dream. So I've been watching it on my end here in South America, and I have a completely different sort of I suppose, side or scope of this. And yes, of course, in the ancient times, people were free to roam the land, and if they wanted to migrate, they would. So there's a kind of a natural cultural thing to do, for a lot of these people that live in the region. But it isn't natural because they're basically getting funded, and there is like a humanitarian question mark. And I feel that Biden has put a lot of money into funding refugees, and even people were asked to offer their homes. So, there is more security, for them than the actual people that are working and trying very hard to succeed. So I have a feeling this is going to get very, very shy, and maybe we don't necessarily need to speak about it too much on my channel, but it feels to me that this is going to be a really big crime that may actually happen, and maybe there will be a returning to this kind of Wild West crime state sort of feeling, because I don't believe these people are going to want to go from getting like $1,000 or $2,000 from the government a month to support their family to getting nothing, and to maybe getting deported or put in a camp. I don't believe that people are going to be at all happy with this, and I feel that this could be a kind of like civil war or uprising, and I also feel that people are already kind of ready for some kind of civil unrest with the president's election. And yes, it is definitely not legitimate. I don't believe that this is as a legitimate election, but neither are several elections that were in the past. I don't think that a lot of them were legitimate, especially in the recent decades. We're just through space and time. There's not really like a fair election in the world today. So it would be really young and naive to consider this to be a fair game, and it isn't, and people don't really have a say. But I feel a significant thing here is about what people really feel that they want. And I feel that the question is of a humanitarian right. And you see, this is going to be very easy maybe for you. Do you want to, give a piece of bread to somebody that's near you? Do you want to share your roof? Would you like to help everybody around? Are you waiting for that to happen? And then, the question of capitalism and how can I say, the question of first world, as they call it, you've earned it, the feeling of you've earned it. Now that's already disappearing. That's disappearing for many reasons. That's disappearing in many, many situations on many fronts. The question of the true alpha or the true winner being the one who worked very hard and achieved the right results, that's not going to be anywhere near the previous space of mind. So people are going to become incredibly infantile, and I feel that with infantility comes rejection, vulnerability, and not being able to really serve. I'm not sure if I'm not at all feeling that Trump is going to go through his whole term. I don't believe that he will go through the whole term. And yes, but he is trying very hard, and as I said before, his heart is in the right place. So yes, it brings weakness and a certain type of damp energy, like it brings a lot of moisture to the government. And the question is, would have Kamala done better? I don't think she's prepared for even half of that which is actually going on between the governments right now. I don't feel that she is prepared to handle any questions. I feel that she's really concentrated on the human thought and the human needs, and it's a very nice feeling to energetically connect to her. She brings a lot of kindness and calmness into the space, and although there's been some very dud interviews with her, and she said some strange things on camera, I don't believe that she's that bad of a person. I don't believe that she was ever that bad of a person, but I feel that she was not prepared. And that is like the president or the prime minister of New Zealand, that lady, I forgot her name. She was not prepared to deal with what's actually going on inside the governments these days. And I don't believe anybody can fully handle it. But there is a lot of question of just payouts, one hand rubbing the other, people knowing where things are going already. I feel that a lot of people can already predict governmental results. The best thing basically to do here is to stay awake, Where you're going really depends on you. I mean, if you like, you can just chip away from this whole block of energy and just do you and see what suits you and what would be well. Do I feel that immigrating is an important thing right now? Because I remember when Trump became president the first time, people were actually saying, oh, we need to like immigrate. You know, this is scary, this is crazy, what's happening. I don't believe so. I don't think that there is a necessity to immigrate or jump abroad necessarily. But there are going to be questions. And as I said, there is sulkiness and sogginess and a feeling of illness that comes with Trump this time. Will America be great again? Will there be a big growth? Will there be a big bank account? Will there be trust? Will the prices go down? Will it be more manageable? Well, the refugee crisis is going to go through a lot. I feel that's going to go through not just one, but a miraculous long amount of changes. These are many people's lives and many people's hopes and dreams. And of course, for a lot of these people, they already got exactly what they wanted. And as they predicted, as they expected, yeah, the trip, you know, on foot through the marshes and the mafia grounds and, you know, the plantations, you know, and the mud was probably worth it for a few families, and they probably have become suddenly quite rich. It worked out exactly, but whether or not they're going to be there for a long time, and some people, they've got the smarts and the know-how, and they know how to get real with themselves super quick, and they know how to fool the government, and they know where to be and where to go and who to marry and what to be a part of. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of gangster stuff happening. It's a cruel world out there, but for the majority, it's going to be hard and hard yards to talk about what the humanitarian thought or what the humanitarian way is. Would it be fine to deport these people? Would it be fine to put them into a camp? Would it be fine to somehow get rid of these people? Do you do that? Can you even say that out loud? And then also the question is, why are we going through this? Why are we paying so much for this? Why are we involved in this? So the political game is going to be very hard for us all to watch if we are a part of it. If we're watching, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a very long question mark of how to get out of these monetary schemes that Biden has created. Is going to be a very, very long, twisted and turny and kind of multi-level, multitasking way to get rid of a lot of things that are happening. There's so much paperwork behind Biden that it would be super hard and super kind of evil to even try to like rip it apart. You don't just go, nah, this is the way now. And a lot of people believed Trump would just get the way and yeah, keep the prices down and help people with their homes and development, land development and such. I don't think that he will, though, do that which you want him to. But some people feel like animosity if he won't do what they think that he should do. He wouldn't be able to prove himself as president the way that people have imagined. And I think that Kamala would have done the best she can with women and children. After that, I feel she would reach a certain plateau. And immigrants, everything humanitarian, women, children, immigrants, abortions, I don't know, whatever she imagined, whatever she talked about. She actually really was gonna do a lot of that because that's a side that was never touched. Would have been easy to work with that side of things because it was never touched. Nobody ever cared about it before. You know, and as a female protagonist, she would have definitely started off with human rights, women's rights, children. She would have really gotten in there. And after about 6 months, I think that she would have reached a certain plateau. And I feel that when it actually comes to Kamala, I felt that she was only there for a minute. You know, so when she first came out as candidate, I had a feeling that she was a very beautiful soul, but she was only there for a moment. So maybe her term would have been short or she wouldn't have been chosen. Like there was like a feeling of a sudden change. And with Trump, there is also a feeling of whether or not he will actually go through the whole term or if there could be a potential danger for him. And yeah, as I'm seeing this, things will get cruel. Things will get cruel, and on the other side, infantile and soggy and soft and sweet, and disease knocks on the door here. So what I can say, I have a feeling that we can watch it play out, or as I said earlier, I repeat myself, we can just basically make our way to steadier ground. And for international politics, there's no way out. There's just not, like, let's pray. There's no way out. There are so many papers signed. There is such a busy world out there. There are so many truths to this. There are so many lies as well. There's so many intertwined passages as to how one hand rubs the other and who's involved and what types of contracts they're in, and is business as usual. But to me, it looks like there's probably not going to be enough fortune amongst that. It's just so easy to go wrong and so easy to get lost between all of these contracts with everybody. So, like, how to end the war, how to end the struggle. Maybe Trump has promised he would end it. He'd have to go in and really have a look as to what they've set up, because there are several traps. There are hidden things. It's not just about pulling America out of the war. You can't do that. And it's also not America anymore, because it's not about the people. It's about banks and infrastructures. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but Big Brother's watching, and it's going to always be this way. So how to say it? I feel living on a prayer. I feel that we need to pray for the world. I have a feeling that we need to pray for sovereignty and solidity for the people. And to me, it feels that Kamala wouldn't have been able to handle any of this stuff that's happening in the next years, like 2026, no. Fire horse, no. And eventually, the better choice here, I would say, is pray and find your way. And what I feel is the way is the land, and understanding how nature talks and what she says to you, and going with the hunches and feelings, and going to the more emotional and subdued energies, and learning to listen to yourselves and other people, and just forming some kind of fortress between the people in the communities, which is already what I've talked about with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. If you like, you can have a look at my website. I have talked about all of the things about Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine, and other things, and it's just directly there on my website, on the front page, just slap bang right there. In case anybody's curious, I honestly have had a lot of anxiety about this stuff, and I used to cry a lot about it until I spoke about it, and then I just stopped thinking about it. Yeah, so where we are in the world is actually very pleasurable, very sweet. We can change things now within ourselves. We can concentrate on our bodies. We can have fun. I feel that the world is looking for a big awakening and a big breath of air, as we are now in the dragon year, just the last months of the dragon year. And it could be good, so concentrating on the positive, probiotics, vitamin C, vitamin D, lots of sun, and hoping for the best. And sometimes miracles happen and surprises happen, and it is all in the intermittent, interwoven aspect of reality, and how souls meet souls, and sometimes knowing the better people in the group and being able to discern a real person from a fake person, or from a spineless, a soulless person is important. And I did talk about, in the rabbit year 2023, it's almost like people walking the earth with no souls, and also a robotic way that people treat themselves and each other, and how social media is filtered, and how we are sometimes even together. So this soul will lead you, maybe more than the government ever could. So thank you so much. And yes, all the links below. Thank you.